You got it, you got it. Pull up, pull up, pull up or shut up. You got it, you got it. Pull up or shut up. Yo, what is up, AD team? Austin Dunn, I'm back again with another video. So today we're gonna talk about skill training or static training. I've discussed skill training quite a bit on my channel, but recently I feel like I haven't discussed what I'm about to discuss right now. And these are 4 often super overlooked tips when it comes to skill training. We know to train with bands or follow through progressions, tucks, and all that stuff, but there are more tips that I've thought about over the course of these years of me training and achieving planche, front lever, back lever, and all of those skills. So without further ado, let's get into the first one. All right, so tip number 1 is that you wanna occasionally attempt the full version or the hardest version that you possibly can do. First, let's use planche as an example. Yes, you want to train through those progressions, the tuck planche, or even the handstand. You're doing a lot of wall handstand holds. What I always tell people is that occasionally, maybe a few times a month, test out the hardest version that you can possibly do. So if you're doing a lot of tuck planches, this workout session or the next session, go for a straddle planche, right? Even if it's bad form, I still want you to attempt it, but there's a fine line between bad form and super bad form to where you can get injured. So you got to make sure that you are doing it right. Same thing with the handstand. You're doing a lot of wall handstand holds. Start doing some handstand kick-ups to force yourself to progress and make it harder. That's the whole point of this, is that you're forcing your body to get stronger, because remember, skill training and static training is all about neurological adaptations in your tendons and joints getting stronger over time. So when you think of progressive overload aspect of it, a lot of people don't know the right time to move on, and they kind of stay stuck in the same place. That's because you're not pushing yourself to that next level. And that's how I progressed in my planche a lot. Is back in the day, man, I would attempt a lot of straddle planches, a lot of straddle planche tips, even full planche tips, even though my form wasn't the greatest. And now, in 2020, I'm capable of doing it with ease. So don't forget to push yourself and attempt those harder variations. Let's move on to the second tip. All right, tip number 2 is that controlling your breathing will be the difference between holding the skill for 4 seconds versus 10 plus seconds. And this is something I've realized when I'm doing handstands and front levers mostly. The first one with the handstand is that the calmer your body is and the more still you are, and when you control your breathing, you're going to be calm, the longer you're going to be able to hold it. Because when your breathing is, uncontrolled and you're too busy moving your fingers and thinking about other stuff, you're not going to be able to hold it for a long time. So that's why you really need to do it. And especially with the front lever, when all that core tension is happening, controlling your breathing, super important. So what I like to do is basically just in and out my mouth, just like that. And then when I'm in a handstand, as long as I'm controlled and focus on it, I realize my holds are longer. So that's another often overlooked tip that a lot of people don't realize. So next time when you're training your statics, try controlling your breathing and see just how longer you hold the movement. Tip number 3 is that once you're able to reach a few skills, you want to try and combine those movements into a full sequence. So let's say you learned the handstand and the L-sit. Instead of training them separately, try combining them together into a sequence known as the L-sit to handstand, L-sit to handstand, and do that as many reps as you can. 1, you're saving time, and 2, you're combining, sometimes different muscle groups or the same muscle groups into a sequence which will be more intense for your body, in which you'll progress even further if you do so rather than training them separately. So L-sit to handstand is a good example, or you can make it even harder. L-sit to handstand to planche to L-sit, front lever to back lever. There's so many different combinations you can do. Your imagination is the only thing that's stopping you. So whenever you do learn these skills, or even if you're at these smaller progressions, try combining the movements and see just how much stronger you're gonna get. All right, lastly, low intensity, high frequency wins when it comes to skills. What does that mean? Low intensity basically means not training the skill to absolute failure whenever you train it. Leave, a good, I was about to say reps out, but you're not doing reps here. You're like time under tension. Leave a few seconds out before you fail so that you're not going too intense, but you want to train the skill more higher frequency. So you can do this either throughout the day, and this is popular, known as greasing the groove, or do a lot more sets within your training session, right? So I'll give another example of me because I'm my best example, and that is whenever I would train, I would do low intensity sets, but I would do tons of sets, upwards, 7, 10 plus sets whenever I'm training my skills. And that really helped me progress, because remember, skill training is a skill, and the more you practice it, the better you're gonna get at it, especially when it comes to non-strength skills such as a handstand, where it takes more technical practice. All right, I discussed 4 different ways you can up your static and skill training. Now I have another 4 different ways that are absolutely for free in a video course I just made, known as the 4 laws of static training. So if you're watching this video, you're definitely gonna wanna check those out. I'll post a link down below, or you put in your email and I'll send it right to you. You don't wanna miss this, because I go deeper into even more static training tips. So like I said, check it out down below. Hopefully this video was helpful. Let me know down below. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace.